Hey everyone, welcome to the Sackhoff Show. I am your host, Katee Sackhoff. Thank you so much for joining me today for this wonderful episode. I cannot wait for you to hear this. As usual, please stick around afterwards for the hindsight episode where I drag my producer Jeff down with me and we dissect the episode and talk about life in general. It's really fun. If you haven't watched it, I highly suggest that you stick around for that. Today's guest is my friend, Jon Huertas. I love Jon. I've known Jon for a very, very long time. I think I met him originally through Nathan Fillion or Michael Trucco because we never really worked together. If you don't know Jon, he was on This Is Us, Generation Kill, Castle. He's been around for a really long time. He's directing now as well. He's phenomenal, phenomenal director. We get into all of that. I cannot wait for you to listen to this episode. Make sure to like and subscribe. Send all of your questions and comments to thesackoffshow@gmail.com. And other than that, I'm just going to get out of your way because this is such a great episode and I can't wait for you to hear my friend, Jon Huertas. Yay! Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to see you.
You too. It's been a while. You look great.
Oh, you do too. How's the hood?
The hood is cool. It's okay. It's almost in my rear view, actually.
Oh, are you guys moving?
Yeah, we're moving to Nevada City.
Oh, that's right. That's what you said. You're moving to Northern California.
Sierra
I
Foothills.
love that.
Sierra Nevada Foothills. Yeah.
And you found a place already?
Yeah, 13-acre horse farm.
Oh, that's right. We talked about this, Jon. We did.
I guess
you text me. I think you text me and you were like, "We're moving. I bought a horse farm." Because you were like, "You moved," right. And I was like, "Yeah, we moved to Oregon. We have some land." And you were like, "I'm moving too."
It's the land thing. We gotta start getting back to the land, right?
I think so.
Doing our own farming.
Was this something that you sort of brought on, or Nicole?
Kind of both, but definitely for me, I think I've been pushing it because we had bought land in New York, upstate New York, in Dutchess County, which isn't that far upstate from the city. But I had planned on building something there, but with the advent of my mom and her mom both going into assisted living in the same month last year. The idea of moving her mom to the East Coast when the benefits she gets here in California, being California resident, is amazing and makes her assisted living way more affordable. And it's like, she's earned it. I think, when you get to a certain age and you've paid so much in taxes or you've contributed to the workforce and to our society, like, I think as an old person, you kind of earn the right to be, kind of taken care of by whatever government, local, state, federal, whatever. So if we leave, we lose it. So I think, it was then a shift. Like, what do we do now? And we started looking all around, like 2 to 3 hours outside of Los Angeles. And I like trees, I like water, and everything that we were looking at that's affordable was like a piece of desert, really, very arid. And so her mom, when she turned 80, we drove up to Grass Valley, California, where she had went to boarding school, like in the late 40s and early 50s. And she just wanted to know if the place still was around and existed. Yeah. Because I guess she had pretty interesting memories from there. And it was still there. The school's still there. It's not a boarding school, but it is a private school now. And I was like, what is this place? This is gorgeous. Like, this part of California is amazing. It's got these undulating hills. It's got, beautiful trees everywhere. It's got, the Yuba River, the American River, Deer Creek, ponds and lakes everywhere. And so it's just like, I don't know, it's like the most gorgeous part of California. So it's an hour from Tahoe. It's an hour from Sacramento. There's so much going on. There's wine country Wine country is very close by, like a couple of different ones, like, Sonoma, Napa, obviously. But then there's Lodi. I mean, there's like just so much cool shit to do around there.
Yeah.
And I love LA, but I've done everything that's here, so I want to do something else. And I want horses. So we have one horse on property right now.
Did the property come with a horse? Like, because a lot of times that people will do that, right?
This one kind of came with a horse, but not from the owner. She was already boarding a horse there for someone else, and the owner had her own horses, but she took them with her. But she was boarding a horse for somebody there, and I'm not going to just like kick that person out. I was like, if you want to continue to board, and I'd fallen in love with the horse anyway. Salsa is the horse's name, and so I love Salsa. I hang out with Salsa whenever I'm there, and I can ride Salsa whenever I want. And we're doing some work on the property, but once we get it dialed in, then I'm gonna get a couple more horses and some other animals.
That's so awesome. I feel very similar to you in that I had spent so much time being a Los Angelino. I'd been there for 27 years.
Yeah.
And something really weird happened, like COVID, a little COVID plus post-COVID. In about 2 years, I realized that I'd spent more time in Los Angeles than I ever had before. And I was like, I don't think I like it. And I don't know if I like it anymore. I think what I loved about Los Angeles, I love the energy. I love the culture. I love the nature. I love that you can be at the beach and the mountains within like 45 minutes. Like I loved the food scene and the music scene. And like there was just everything I loved about LA because I could also leave it. So I had this beautiful fondness for it because I was always gone. And when I came home, I was like a tourist in my own state all the time.
Yeah.
And then when I came back and was like grounded for 2 years and we had our daughter, I was like, it's not what I remembered. Like, it's not what I had in my head. I still love it. I go back often and I adore it. But I wanted space. I wanted to walk out my door and not hear my neighbor screaming at her dogs. I wanted space for the kids. And like, if our daughter walks out our front door, I didn't want to have to worry that she was going to get hit by a car. We live in like a busy area that like, I would call it a Waze neighborhood. Like, it was one of the victim of Waze. And it was so wonderful. And we started with like 1.5 acres because we were looking at 5 to 10 acre properties, Robin and I both, because we had just this fantasy about like what we wanted. And I got a little scared. I was like, I don't know if we're these people. And it's really hard when you buy something specific. If you buy a horse property with like a horse, barn on it, like that's very specific. Yeah. It's really hard to sell those properties unless you find the right person because it's hard to maintain that type of property. And so I was like, I don't know if we're those people yet. And so we started with 1.5 acres. And then as soon as we moved in and we got settled, we both went, I think we need more space.
Our house is like 5,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's like the house is the perfect size. So for entertaining when guests come, you got the screening room thing, garage, and then we have a big giant workshop, which has like so cool. my first like actual like wood shop. I've always wanted the wood shop where do you
woodwork?
Yeah, I do. But in Venice, I gotta like get everything out and put it in my driveway, work, and then you never finish anything in one day. So then it's like I put everything away because if I don't put everything away, that's the night it rains. Or even all the moisture comes and your tools get rusty and stuff. So I'm going to have like an actual workshop, a big one with like a dust collection system, drill press, planer, joiner, giant table saw, all the things. And then it's got attached to that a 2-car garage that is, the ceilings are like 20 feet. So I can pull in my Sprinter van, no problem. And then behind that is another space. We've built like 2 offices now. One for Nicole, one for me.
You have a Sprinter van?
I have a Sprinter van, yeah.
Is it like built out to like
traveling?
God, it's like You're living my dream, John. Minus the horses. I'm not a horse person.
You're not a horse person?
No.
I also have we have a 30-foot trailer. So Nicole and I are actually staying in that on property while our house is being worked on. So
oh my God.
do
you remember when Trucco did that?
Yeah.
When he and Sandra lived in the Hollywood Hills with like this trailer and their dogs and their cats for like over a year.
This one will luckily, we won't be in it that long. We'll be in it probably, and we're bouncing back and forth. And Nicole travels so much for work. She'll be in hotel rooms most of the time. But I think we're going to be in it maybe 5 months, if max. I mean, that's max. I think the work that I'm doing in the house, it's not going to be that much. It's not that much structural. So I think we'll be out of that trailer pretty quickly. We need to be. It's
a lot. And you have big dogs.
Small. No, we have one big dog. Yeah. One of our dogs passed away like 2.5 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The cancer came and got him.
Oh my God.
2 different types of cancer, 3 different places in his body.
Really?
He was growing a tumor in his throat that was like closing it off. So every day it got tighter and tighter. The tumor was growing so fast to where, he couldn't breathe at night, and he stopped eating and drinking because it just, I think, hurt. And that's when we knew, not eat and drink. It's time. 12 years old, our cattle dog. But we got a golden doodle.
How's your other dog doing? The golden doodle.
Good.
Yeah,
she's
a hard
pretty
adjustment.
Good. She's older too, though. She's like 11, and she was kind of bigger than him. And when they're bigger, I think they're the ones that don't live as long. And then we got this little tiny dog. I call her a toy mastiff, but she's not really a mastiff. She's mixed with a pug, a French bulldog, and Yorkshire Terrier are her main breeds, because I did the wisdom panel thing, which is 23andMe for dogs.
Yeah.
And she looks like a tiny little mastiff, and she's really dense and strong, and she's crazy. She thinks she's big. But we got her from the streets. She came from the streets, like from South Central. And I got a hit about 2 weeks ago on Wisdom Panel, and I found her sister. So we're going to meet up with the other, the other dog this weekend on Saturday.
I wonder if they'll just be like, woohoo, another dog. Or if they'll be like, yo, I've been looking for you.
I think they're going to be like, I hope it's, I've been looking for you. Oh my God.
Oh
I hope
my
it's
God.
That. I hope
I've
it's
been roaming the streets
reunion.
at night. Secret Life of Pet style.
Yeah. And the other one, they found the other one on the streets too.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Most of my dogs are street dogs, except for the pug. She was not a street dog. She was purchased.
She was fancy.
She was fancy. Everyone else has been on death row or just showed up at my house. And they're different. They're a different breed. The ones that find you, they're like, I'm not going anywhere. I know how good this situation is. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah. Did you ever think growing up in New York that this would be your life?
No, definitely not. It wasn't, I think, until I moved here to California that I was like, this is what I want. I did ride horses when I was a kid. My grandparents lived in Virginia, and I ended up moving to Virginia for high school.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I started riding when I was 11.
Really?
And yeah. And, once I think moved here is when I was like, what are my life goals? What do I want to have and I just love horses so much. I always wanted my own. I romanticized about, the Lone Ranger and his horse. They were so tight, and they were like best friends, and he could whistle and the horse would come. That's what I want. I want to be.
If you whistle and your horse doesn't come, you're going to be sorely disappointed.
Well, I'm already pissed off at Salsa most days because I'm like, I call her name and she doesn't even come. She'll come, if I don't call her name, she comes running up and runs over me, and she'll just kind of bump me. And if I call her name, she just kind of stands out there and looks at me. I'm not going to be told what to do.
No. She sounds like she's a free spirit. My sister's horse, Teddy, Theodore, is a brat as well. My sister has a horse that she boards. She was looking for horse property and couldn't find something that was in within their budget, and so she just continues to board him. But my sister jumps and the whole deal. She loves it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she loves it. I have a very healthy fear of horses. My brother, when I was like 8, maybe I was like 6, he was like 8. He got kicked in the face by a horse.
Oh my God. Yeah,
The way he tells the story, I
that
was playing
hurts.
behind the horse and he rescued me in some heroic dive. I doubt this. Like he says I was like braiding the horse's tail. I was not that stupid. Like, I was definitely like a kid that like got into some trouble, but I don't think I was doing that. I think that he was probably just messing around and got kicked, but he got kicked hard. And
Wow.
he's so lucky. He's so lucky because
He is
there was no
lucky.
damage other than one of his adult teeth got knocked out, and he had to have like a peg put in later in life. But that was the only thing. He had no other damage,
Wow.
and this horse kicked him like 20 feet.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so
yeah,
scared of that. Yeah, I don't think I'm
yeah.
ever gonna get kicked. I don't care how well I know the horse, and if the horse has never kicked anybody, I just stay away from the back of a horse.
Yeah.
If I have to like brush the tail or, brushing the booty of the horse, like I'm
Mm,
just off to the side so I can always avoid that hoof
yeah.
if it comes.
How do
And
you
use
brush a horse's booty? Like, what's the purpose? Like, do you have to
it's to
like
clean. So
clean it? Oh,
yeah, it's cleaning it. Yeah. So the, dust and dirt gets in the hairs. And instead of spraying, like, and some people, I have a wash station, so I'll spray a horse down. But between rides or before you're about to ride, you just want to
mm,
brush horse, keep them as clean as possible. And so you just take the
sort of like
brush
a
and
dog.
yeah. So
Like
I
just in the
stand off to
sense
the
that like they
side.
get,
The horse booty is nice and big and round. So I stand off to the side with the brush, and now if I'll reach around, I'll do a little reach around.
you just got a
Uh,
little reach around.
yeah, do a little
There's a
reach
skill
around.
to the reach around, John.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at the reach around.
Yeah.
So uh, I'll do all that, the reach around of the horse, and clean the hooves, like all do all the stuff without putting myself in jeopardy. I make
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
I'm always, because I think a lot of people, they get to know their animals. They know their animals pretty well, but everybody's moody, right? And so
Mm,
I just feel like you just never, and everybody's ticklish, and everybody can get startled or whatever. So
mm.
I am always watching, but I think some people get a little chill and lackadaisical when it comes around a 2,000, 3,000 pound animal.
Yeah.
And so no matter how I think well an animal, it's just like you might know your significant other really, really well. And suddenly, because they're in a mood, they snap at you, or they do, they throw a jar at your head. Well, hopefully not. But you just never know. It
Is that
could.
like that fiery Puerto Rican blood? You just like throw
Right.
in every once in a while, you just chuck in jars at people's heads.
I've never done that, but I'm not gonna say that one hasn't been chucked at me.
I feel like I have actually had a wall punched by my head. I had the ability to inspire that much
Oh,
anger
really?
in someone I was dating, and he punched a wall next to my head, and I legitimately went, and we're done.
Oh, yeah.
And we're done. Like in that
Yeah,
moment, I was like, we're done.
absolutely. First of all,
Yeah.
I don't know who that guy was, and I don't want to say like, he's a tool bag or anything, but he is. But to get to that point where you feel like you have to strike out at all. I don't care what kind of buttons like a woman is pushing or a man is pushing. I think if you're gonna get to a point where you have to strike it out, there's something you gotta like. There's something else going on. It's not about that argument, right? But then to punch a wall, and me knowing a little bit about construction, there's a 2x4 behind
Right
a
behind
wall every
that
16 inches.
sheetrock.
Yeah. So you don't know where she's standing. You don't know what, you don't know where you're really punching. You don't have like a fucking stud
You don't have a
finder.
stud finder while
Yeah.
you're.
No, not right here. Let me just,
Move
it's
your
like,
head over just a little bit.
but also drywall's not that, it's pretty hard too. And,
Yeah.
and what, like you could break every bone in your hand if you
Yeah.
punch a 2x4. That's just dumb. Like, why punch a wall? That's just, and then you got to fix it.
It
If
pretty.
you do hit make a hole in it, now you got to fix it. And if you're not,
Now you
if
gotta
you're,
fix
if
that
you're not
hole.
handy, you got
Yeah.
to pay for somebody else to fix it.
Look, and if I didn't leave him before that, if he couldn't have fixed that hole, that would have been a second red flag. Like everyone needs to know
Exactly.
how to fix a
Right.
hole in sheetrock. Like
You know
I
what?
know how to fix a
Exactly.
hole in sheetrock.
He punches, and you're like, I'm gonna give you a second. I'm gonna give you one more chance. All right, I'll fix that hole. And like 2 weeks later, the hole's still there.
It's a poster
And you're
over
like,
it.
did you not go to Home Depot yet to get the hole patch kit? And he's like, I just don't know what aisle to even look in.
It's YouTube.
All right.
YouTube exists for a reason. You could
Yeah.
learn how to change your own oil on YouTube. Like you could learn anything on YouTube.
I would have been like valedictorian of my high school if YouTube existed. Back then.
100%. Me too.
I would have known everything. I would have just, I would have been so much, and that's the thing. Like, I should have went to the library more. I don't know, but
No, they had that whole Dewey Decimal System thing. You had to find your books.
I
I
hated
still
that.
don't use that thing. I go to the bookstore all the time now, and I'm like, and they're like, "Did you see the computer over there? You can put in the title, and then you go find it." I'm like, or you could just show me where the book is.
right.
Like, I don't want to go find it.
I go even. I'm even lazier than you. I go to the bookstore and it's called Audible and it's on my phone and I only listen to books. So
It's smart. It's
I
smart.
gotta like wear glasses now to read shit, and it's just like and
It's not worth it.
yeah. So and now because I drive to this Northern California property quite often, and so I'm knocking out books on Audible like
You're reading
left
5
and
books a
right.
day.
Oh my gosh.
I want to talk to you about like what made you, because you served in the was it the Air Force
Air Force
for
yeah.
8 years? What made you enlist after high school?
I would say it's a combination of several things. When I was a kid, I mean, I always loved, the military, and the guy who thought he was my dad was in the military, and so
The guy who thought he was
Yeah.
your dad?
yeah, and so and also when I was a kid, like for the most part, I kind of thought he was my dad, and then sometimes I'd be like, well, but he's such a different color than me. Maybe he's not my dad. And so he thought, and then I had my uncle was a Marine, and my cousin was a Marine, and there were a lot of people in my family. My grandfather, who ended up being like a father figure in high school, he was in the Navy. So there was a lot of military kind of in my family, and I made model airplanes and dioramas with tanks and all these things. So I liked that stuff. But I also, was about theater and doing plays and higher education and sports. And so, when you think the military doesn't align with any of that stuff, right? And and then because I'm, trying to get that attention from my mom, I needed to be a professional actor because, like you wanted to get that bigger reaction from your dad. That's what I wanted from my mom. I wanted a bigger reaction. So I got to go to Hollywood. I got to do my thing. And that was always the goal from, when I was in high school. But my drama teachers were in high school were like, you've got to get an undergrad degree. You've got to get a master's degree if you want to be taken seriously as an actor. And so I started, focusing on that, going through the, academic programs at my high school to take all the right courses to get into a great school, a theater program, hopefully somewhere. And I ended up getting a partial scholarship because I had no money from my family to go to school, which is fine. And I didn't have like valedictorian grades because there was no Google yet. So I wasn't
no YouTube.
Yeah, no YouTube. So I wasn't going to get a scholarship. And so for that, but then what I did was I got a partial scholarship for football, and I was able to work part-time. And I went to college, after when I graduated high school. And
Wow.
I didn't, and I'm not going to say that I got kicked out, but they told me I should find another school for my sophomore year. And so
Can I ask
know.
you why? Were you just
So I got put on what's called disciplinary probation. I'm sure you've heard.
Okay.
Of it. There was a party that was thrown in my dorm. These guys threw what's called a floor party because our dorms were multiple floors
on
high.
different floors? Yeah.
Yeah. And so they did a floor party, and it was on my floor. And if I'm there on a Saturday, I'm at the party because it's where I live.
On your floor.
On my floor. I didn't drink that much at all. Like, I think especially my freshman year, I just I'm not old enough, first of all, and it just didn't interest me.
Well, it's there. You're in college. It's there. It's like
Yeah.
on your floor. What the hell? What do they want you to do?
Exactly. So then a TV ends up getting thrown out a window somewhere, and it's pretty far down. It could have hurt somebody.
Yeah, of course.
And the RA that was on our floor just basically wrote down all the names of the people that he saw and, at the party or, on the floor. And of course, there were a ton of people that weren't even from our floor or our dorm that were at the party. And maybe it was one of those guys. I don't know. Definitely wasn't me. But my name was on a list. Now I'm on probation. And then I was in a sociology class, and we were having a class discussion about derogatory terms for people of color, mostly. And there was a kid from this town called Bristol. Bristol's halfway between. It's a town that's halfway in Virginia and halfway in Tennessee. It's literally the state line runs between the middle of the town, Bristol. And this kid thought, his argument was that his father taught him what an animal with horns, antlers, and brown fur and a white tail. It's called a deer. My dad taught me that what that animal looked like. That's a deer. And he told me that if a man had, really dark skin and kinky hair, he said that is a N-word. And I was like, you're a fucking liar. What do you mean? That's bullshit. He's like, what do you mean? That's what my dad taught me. I go, your dad taught you what it was because you just said it. You said, if a man, so he's a man.
Yeah.
Just like you are. Like you're a liar. You know what the proper, nomenclature for this being is. It's a man. So you're lying. Like you know that it's a bad word. It's the reason why we're sitting here. Like the reason why we're having a discussion. You're smart enough to know you're in college, bro. Don't bullshit me. And I got angry because first of all, I got called the N-word growing up, all the time in Virginia. They'd never seen a Puerto Rican before, and I'm Afro-Latino, so black Puerto Rican basically. And I got called the N-word, so it really affected me.
As it should.
Also, yeah, and also part of even part of my family on the white side called me that word. And so it fucked with me. And so I was getting heated. And then he started picking on, there was another kid, he started using a derogatory term for Asian people. And this kid was like from China. He was here on an exchange program and this kid never experienced anything like this before. And you could see that he was scared and hurt. And I was like, man, shut the fuck up and apologize to this guy. And he was like, fuck you, make me, you son of a bitch, whatever. And I was like, fuck, man, shut the fuck, just sit the fuck down. And he was like, you sit the fuck down. So sit me down. And then it became a thing. And then we got in a fight. Literally, we got in a fight in sociology class. And he hit me first. And it became a little bit of a brawl. Suddenly, I guess he's got allies. They stood up and they got involved. And I had my boy from high school, this guy named Bucket. His nickname is Bucket. He was involved. So it ended up being 6, 7 of us, rolling around, like desks, getting thrown, all this shit. And our professors walked out of the room and called campus police. And then, we get, hooked up, put in bracelets, and then had to answer to the charges of assault, on campus. And because of probation, they were like, yeah, you're going to find another school for next year. So then I didn't know I was going to pay for college. And that's when I went to the Air Force recruiter, and they were offering 75% of your education. As long as you maintain a B+ average, they would pay for it.
That's how my dad went to college. He enlisted in the military.
Yeah. And so I got my degree in musical theater while in the military. Not a lot of people did that. And I realized once I got into the military, that they're supportive as long as you are doing your job, doing it well and excelling. You can all these other pursuits, you can do them as long as they don't get in the way of you getting deployed when they need you and being there when they need you. So I studied theater. They did try to push me into engineering instead of theater because they would have rather made me an officer and
of course
whatever. But I was like,
they don't want to lose you to Hollywood. They're like, wait, you're going where? We could really use you.
Right. But they did have every base had a talent show every year. there was this thing in the Air Force called Tops in Blue, which is a touring show that tours the world. And you could audition for that. Actually, you would, if you competed in the talent shows, then you would, you know, then you could compete like at the, almost like the national level, and you could become part of Tops in Blue. Sinbad, if you remember that comedian, like he had done the base talent shows, and then ended up being offered Tops in Blue, and his commander wouldn't let him do it. And that's when he said, well, then and he got himself, you know, kicked out of the Air Force so that he could pursue, and he went and won Star Search, if you remember.
Did you, have you ever done a USO tour?
I have, yeah. I've gone to a couple places with USO,
yeah.
Back in the day.
Because I know that Milo, your co-star from This Is Us, did a USO tour as well.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was just talking to somebody yesterday actually about it too. You want to do one?
I would love to do one. Yeah.
Let's go.
I think I got asked at one point, and it was a conflict for something. I can't remember what it was, but it was definitely a conflict. So now I got that Star Wars push behind me. Maybe I'm cool enough to do a USO tour now.
You are very cool. You are very cool.
Oh, thanks, Jon.
They would love to see you.
I appreciate that. What are you still directing? I mean, obviously you're still directing, but what inspired you to direct?
I took my first cinematography class in high school and
Did
started.
You really?
Yeah, 11th grade, and started directing little movies with my friends. JT Meester, I remember, was my like kind of cohort when it came to, and we made like Vietnam movies, basically little miniature Vietnam movies. We would take like, you know, we set up a close up, and then there'd be like an explosion, and someone would be off screen, and they'd just throw like, you know, dirt and mud and rocks, and oh shit, you know, it's landing on you and stuff.
Creating Kubrick movies in the backyard.
Yeah. So we did that, and then when I first got to LA, so I had a musical theater degree, so I, you know, could sing, dance, and act, and I did, you know, have a directing background because of, you know, the little bit of cinematography and directing I did, and I was like that kid that would take a handful of rocks, and you throw the whole handful of rocks, one of the rocks is going to hit the target, right? So like all of those things, singing, acting, dancing, and directing were my rocks, and which one's going to hit, and so I was trying everything, and then I did realize like I got to focus on one thing, and I decided let me focus on being an actor, and because I think people, you know, most of my rocks were acting rocks that were hitting the target. So if I can find success in that, maybe then I can branch off and do other things. And but then I really focused on you know, the acting career, and then at one point I realized I hadn't been directed by anyone in television. Only one person in television that looked like me, that was an adult male Latino, out of over 400 episodes of television.
Yeah.
One adult male Latino had ever directed me. And I thought, wow, there's a hole there that should be filled. Because, you know, I remember, you know, doing something and making a choice based on who I am and how I grew up and my background. And I remember the director kind of trying to push me in a different direction and not understanding why I'm making this choice. And wouldn't even listen to why. Like, I was trying to explain, this is why I'm making this choice. Because my character is basically, you know, there are lots of pieces of me in my character. And so I'd like that. And I like to, you know, continue that. And this is why I'm making this choice. And to have someone argue with me was like, you know, disheartening. And it's because they didn't get it. They didn't understand me.
They don't have your experience.
Yeah. And they may not even have met anybody like me, or at least spent time with someone like me. So I thought, with, you know, almost 30 years of experience, like, why wouldn't I step behind the camera now that I have that experience, so that other people, younger actors like me, could see themselves on the other side of the camera, and I would understand why they're making the choices they make. And so I felt the responsibility. But I also felt when I was doing this show, Generation Kill.
That was one of your first movies, right?
No.
Your first TV shows?
No, I think it's probably the most highest profile one, I think. I did.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Because that was HBO, right?
That was HBO, yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking of Band of Brothers.
I didn't do Band of Brothers.
No, because that was before. I'm thinking of time.
But I
Like,
got
when did
offered-
Generation Kill come out?
Oh, 2007. But I
Oh, okay.
got
So
offered
after.
Band of Brothers because I think Band of Brothers was 99 or something
It
like that.
was. That's what I was thinking. I had the time wrong on.
Yeah. And that's when I
Yeah.
was on Sabrina the Teenage Witch and I couldn't do
Yes, which I remember you from. I
Oh God.
loved Melissa Joan Hart.
So so yeah, I couldn't do Band of Brothers. I was super disappointed, but
Mm,
Generation Kill was even, in my opinion, like more my speed anyway.
yeah.
I remember being on set and one of the directors uh, came to set and just said, "What are we going to shoot today?" And it pissed off the DP and I think the 8 camera operator, and because it had been like that where there was no plan at the beginning of the
Mm.
day, and a
No
director,
storyboard or anything?
no, and
Hmm.
so I thought, wow. And it was also like, I was very lucky to be one of the leads of this show, and so I was privy to some of these conversations, and so I was right there when it happened, and I was like, wow, like this is an $80 million HBO limited series. If this person can get this job,
Mm.
and they show up to set not prepared,
Mm.
uh, I should be able to get a job like this, like
Mm.
because I know I'm all about prep, and
You're going
so
to prepare. Yeah.
yeah, so that's when I started thinking I'm gonna start to shift a little bit and think about getting in that chair.
And
So
that
I
was in
started
2009. It's a long time
2007,
ago.
2007,
Okay.
and 2008 is when we started Castle, and it was the second season of Castle when I directed my first short film,
Mm.
and continued to direct shorts and the special features for our DVD sets and music videos, and then
Oh, so cool.
yeah, and I didn't get to direct on Castle because of some old bullshit, if you ask me. But
No, I was going to say, I'm sure that I know what that bullshit is.
exactly, there was that, and I guess because they wouldn't allow one of the people in the show to direct. Someone didn't want that person to direct.
It's hard in a show when because you've got the hierarchy of a call sheet on a set. And I've talked about this a lot for people that, the lead of the show is usually number one, and then it trickles down by usually who the studio and the deems the most important people
Yeah.
down. And
God, I
if
love that. I love that.
the trickle down, isn't it
I,
fun?
I just
I hate
love
it.
it.
I
I
hate it
love
so
the
much. It's so stupid.
hierarchy.
It's so great. But if someone on the bottom or lower down in the regulars on a show wants to direct, but nobody above them wants to direct, it's this weird thing where like, well, you can't do it before they do it. And, or we don't want them to do it, or so then you can't do it. There's so much politicking that goes into all of that, for sure.
I was lucky that they didn't kind of feel that way or do that on This Is Us. Like I think from the beginning, I think when I first, because they shot the pilot when we were still doing Castle, so I came on for the second episode. I wasn't in the pilot, but right when they asked me to come on the show, I got a call from my agent said, "Hey, Ken Olin wants to have a meeting with you," who was the producing director of the show.
Yeah.
And I went to Paramount and went to his office, and he sat me down and he was like, "So I know you want to direct, so we're going to work on getting you in the director's chair." And it was like,
That's so cool.
I hadn't even shot yet. I think this was before I'd even shot a frame, and I was like, "This is different and awesome." And so, that was it was. And it's I think because Ken Olin was an actor first, right? And he was on a show and was able to start directing on that show.
What show was he on?
30 something.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, and all of them. I guess Peter Horton had been directing before 30 something. So he it was an actor who already showed up with that kind of like the idea that he was going to direct on the show. And then I think Ken was like, "I'd like to try it." So they let him try it. I think Ken was like very supportive of an actor who wants to step into the director's chair, and he gives great advice and great mentorship. And I think that's what really got me to fall in love with directing was the support that I got from that show, but then also the actors that are, for me, some of the best actors that I've ever worked with as an actor, but then also as a director too. Everybody always so prepared, so good. You know, you're on a show for 6 years, and every single one of the actors still comes like I said, 100% prepared. And then on the other side of the camera gives you 100 to 110%.
God, that's amazing.
Not on them. It was special. It was really cool. And it made me step up even, like, you know, coming from Castle, like eight seasons where, you know, sometimes you read a script and you're just not that into it. And so you don't really, you know, prepare like you should.
Yeah.
So I had a little bit of that coming on to This Is Us at the very, very beginning. But then when everybody would just every take bring it, I was like, ooh, I like that. I like, because then I get to affect the other person's performance in some way, right? It's not just about me. It's about like, how am I supporting my castmates? And like, if I give them 100 or 110% off camera, imagine what their performance is going to feel like to them and then feel like to the audience.
When we did Longmire, Greer Shepherd, there were no sides on set. No sides.
Oh, wow.
They were not allowed. The writers and the executive producer, Greer Shepherd, thought it disrespected the word and allowed people to show up unprepared. It was phenomenal.
Yeah,
you could have your script at your chair if you needed it, which we did. We had lots of dialogue. So our full scripts were always like on our chair or on our iPads or whatever, but they did not give sides. And it was amazing because you had to be prepared. You had to be memorized. You had to be ready. You had to do the work, and it forced people to show up. And so I tried to implement that on my show, Another Life, when we were on Netflix. And I was not allowed. I was not allowed because we were working with a bunch of young actors, and they thought that it helped them. And I spent so much time trying to explain that giving someone a crutch doesn't help them. Doesn't help them. They're young. They should learn good habits now. Come to work memorized.
Right.
And there was
crutch.
one.
They hadn't broken their leg yet.
No. And one of the actresses at work would come to work so unprepared that she would literally need her sides. At one point, I got so upset that I was on the opposite side and she wasn't memorized that I literally had them tape the sides to an iPad and said, just read the fucking lines. Just fucking read them, because I'm not going to deal with your, you know, your bullshit for the rest of this day. This is insane. I find it so disrespectful of everyone. We're all tired. We're all away from our families. We're all doing long hours. Like,
right,
girl,
exactly. That's crazy.
Oh, my baby's crying. What advice would you give if I wanted to direct? Because I kind of have the bug.
Have you directed any short content yet, or any kind of content or anything yet?
No, sir.
So I think that
no,
would be...
sir. I want to learn how.
So I'm mentoring a director who actually he works at ABC right now. So he's a young director, and he had gone to film school, and he directed his thesis, which looks beautiful, but it's the only thing he's directed. So when you are going to, first of all, people want to see you as a director. They don't want to see me as or you. They don't want to see you as an actor who's like giving it a try. As a professional, they want to. Is this what you want to do, or you want to be a professional actor? And this is some of the best advice I got from Ken, and it's why when This Is Us ended, you know, there were jobs that I just turned down because Ken had told me, if you want to, he goes, you're good at this. He goes, if you want to do this and do it often and do it, you know, maybe as a profession, he goes, you need to just direct and not act, at least for a while, so that people don't see you as the actor who's just trying it out. They see you as a director. So I decided I'm taking a year off. And of course we had at least a year off just to direct. And then
now it's been 3.
Yeah, because of strikes, it ended up being 2. So now it's 2 years, but it's fine because, you know, the stuff that I want to do as an actor is stuff that that I'm developing, that I'm putting together. Otherwise, I would rather just be a director because the gratification I get from directing is much greater than the gratification I get from being in front of the camera. But I would say the first piece of advice is you need to direct some short films and not be in them if you can. Because I directed a bunch of stuff that I was in because I was the most affordable actor with my level of experience that I could convince and that I knew I would be available, you know, for the days, because obviously I'm directing. I'm available those days as an actor as well. So, but then it looks kind of like a vanity thing, like, you know, and it was interesting and good practice, because if I do direct something that I'm in, later on, then I know how to do it. But the last three shorts that I directed, I came up with this idea, and I can help you with this, by the way, because I'm creating a program with another group of guys that is going to be something similar to this, but and I stole this idea from HBO because I used to mentor at HBO for their writers and directors fellowship. But basically, I put together a crew, and then I got 3 scripts. I got my writing partner to write a script. I got this actor who had always wanted to create and make his own stuff. I had him write a script, and I wrote a script, and I then took all 3 scripts, and myself, I did a pass to make them all feel connected, either through the text or visually, right? Mm-hmm. And then I got one crew, 3 different casts, and I directed everything over a 4-day period, all 3 shorts. So now I'm walking away with 3 shorts that I'm not in. I sat in the director's chair, which I loved, by the way, and then cut these 3 shorts so they can be 3 individual shorts. So now you can get out there into the festival game with 3 different shorts at the same time. Also, what I did is I was able to, because they are connected, I could put them together as one film. And if it's over 40 minutes, it's technically a feature. If it's 40 minutes and below, it's technically a short. And it's more cost effective. Now you have a bigger body of work. You have 3 stories that look completely different, 3 different casts. And so when you do, like, say, hey, I want to direct an episode of whatever, is there something? Because they always want to see what have you directed before, and you can so here you go, and then I'm able to get some actors that people would recognize in these things because they're my friends and they want to support me. So nobody's getting rich, but they know that I think like, and I'll do it myself sometimes. I'm going to be this kid that I'm mentoring. I'm going to be in his short film because he seems like he's talented and he's driven. And if he could be one day directing a movie, and if he needs a, really strong, really great looking Puerto Rican, I'm hoping that he. Okay, but no, but I'm gonna do him a solid now because maybe later on, you never know, he could do me a solid.
You never know.
Maybe he has the perfect role for me.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. You never know who the PA on set could be the head of the studio in 10 years. Yeah, you never know.
My friend Carter Swan, who is he's now I don't know if he's the president or he's basically running PlayStation. Sony PlayStation. So they're doing a bunch of shows, TV shows now based on their library, right? And he's overseeing all of it. He's in charge of all of it. And I knew him when he was an assistant, and he wanted to be a writer. And now he's fucking running things. And so you never know who's going to ascend to what when you meet them. So get in their good graces. But I would say direct 3 shorts or so, and call me if you need me.
I have the ability or the opportunity to potentially direct a short, so maybe I'll do that. I am. Oh, very cool. I was sort of excited by it, so maybe I'll do that. I'm intrigued, and I've worked with enough directors who don't direct to realize that I think I could do it, or I'd like to try.
I can, from knowing you, I think that you would make a fantastic director when it comes to definitely, your strength, your leadership, and your intelligence. I mean, a director has to be, have a certain level of intelligence. And I think that you are so intelligent. And
I think that's the first time I've ever been called intelligent my entire life.
People don't see you like I see you, Katie.
I love it. I'm going to go tell my dad.
Go tell him. Jon Huertas said I'm intelligent.
He said I'm so intelligent.
I think you're intelligent, smart, very smart, and talented. And if you can take the talent that you have as an actress and bring that into your directing work, I think that you'd be great. And But like I said, if you, but please call me if you're going to direct a short and you need an actor that, that is fucking phenomenal, by the way. But
And like super sexy.
super sexy, super sexy, super phenomenal.
Super sexy.
Something I've always loved about you, Katee, is you laugh at my dumb jokes.
I have a very low entry for humor because I love to laugh. It's like my favorite thing in life is to laugh and like to just cackle. I feel we safeguard laughter too much.
Absolutely.
So,
but I can, I would love to, I have, in fact, the two guys that produced those three shorts for me, let me know. I mean, I don't know. You said you've got an opportunity to direct a short, so you might already have producers and stuff like that. But one of them is an Academy Award winning producer, and the other one's his brother. I call him the brother Sacks. But I work with them as often as I can because they're just great guys. But they've already got the experience of doing three shorts like that,
that's awesome.
And they like the process. So let me know.
I'll let you know. That's awesome. I might do. My brain is stirring. So
yeah,
my highly intelligent brain.
I'm going to be in this kid's short. I've got an actress friend of mine, a television actress. She's going to be in it as well. And it's, we're giving back to someone who we think is, and I think you would get the same love from anybody. And then once you get those three shorts, then it's about, because also then it's about shadowing.
Yeah. Because
shadowing, even if you do a great job in the shorts and you know what you're doing basically, but shadowing is now the political part of it. That's the part where people see Katee Sackhoff as, oh, she's directing now, and now you're meeting the hopefully the current, whoever from whatever studio is overseeing that show. Those are the people that hire you as directors, are the current executives at all the broadcast networks and studios like Netflix or whatever. Those current executives are the ones that have the list of directors they want to work with. So you want to get in front of them and let them make sure that they know you're directing. And then the showrunners ultimately, the current executives are like, we want Katee to direct on this show. And the showrunner might, will want to meet you. And then the showrunner ultimately will be the one to make the final decision. And when you're shadowing, you're meeting these people and you're, they're seeing that you're serious about it. Right. And that's the thing, I think, is that, again, going back to being actors who become directors, is they already see us one way. And just like I do, they think we're children. They treat us like little babies, like little kids.
They do, like little, like herding kittens.
Yeah. I used to think like having a parking spot was a privilege when I had a parking spot on the lot. I was like, no, they just want to know where the guy is.
They want to know where you are and what time you got there.
Yeah.
When I first started executive producing projects, the first time I got a vanity producer credit, they were sorely disappointed to realize how seriously I took it because I was there every day. They were like, oh, no, we didn't want you here every day. And I was like, well, then you shouldn't have given me the credit because I'm here and I'm not going anywhere.
And here are my notes.
And this is my notes. Who at the network do I need to speak to? Yeah, they loved it. But it's true. It's anytime you step into a new arena, whether it be in this profession or another profession, they're going to see you the way that they've always seen you for a while until you've either proven yourself or done something long enough that they've sort of forgotten who you were and they see you for who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This has been absolutely amazing. And I could talk to you for a million years. And I have a whole list of questions that I didn't even get to. But that's okay.
You want to ask one or two more? You're welcome to.
I would like to do this last little thing that we're doing. It is a new thing where I have a deck of cards, and it's questions, and you tell me when to stop, and I'll grab a card, and I have no idea what it is. And then I'm going to ask you the question. And this may be a sex deck of cards. I don't know which one was brought in. So if it's wildly inappropriate, I will just not ask you and we'll do something different. So you tell me when to stop and I'll grab a card.
Stop.
Okay, I've got it.
All right. Uh-oh.
Finish the sentence.
Finish the sentence, okay.
what you really need to understand about me and sex is
that I take it very seriously as if it were my profession, and that your pleasure is my pleasure.
I mean, hey, Nicole. All I'm seeing right now, Jon, is the video that you and Nicole showed us when your dogs got in a fight and you ran out of the shower completely nude.
Butt naked.
Butt naked.
And threw a dog across the
dogs.
room. Oh, poor Biz. Got thrown across the room by naked John.
Oh, Jon.
It's so ridiculous.
And that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Well, I miss you. We never hung out enough.
But anytime, we'll hang out more. We will hang out. Let me know when you want to do a short film. I'll be there for you to mentor and help, or do craft service, or be in it. And then we'll work together on something, I'm sure.
I would love that.
We've
at
been
some
trying
point
for a while. Yeah.
We have. Oh my God, we have.
I got that movie. I think that script is going to be ready soon. I'll talk to you about it. I think it's going to be. I think Blumhouse is going to do it. We'll see.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the pleasure of working for Blumhouse, but after the fact, they purchased a project that I did.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
they
fun.
were involved.
We would play husband and wife, and but there's a big twist. Like it's cool.
Am I your sister?
No, not that kind of twist. You're still my wife, but we're not like we. I'll tell you about it later. I don't want to ruin the surprise. Yeah.
Okay. Please do. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being open to my
your sex questions.
My stack of sex cards. We're gonna have to get some more cards, because you never know. You never know what could have come up. This is awesome. Thank you for joining me.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Hindsight. Thanks for sticking around. I am still Katee Sackhoff. And of course, my producer, Jeff, my poor producer, Jeff, that is here and on camera, which is the last thing he wanted to do. Hi.
Yes, I'm back somehow.
It just every time I see your face, you look happier and happier to be here, though.
Yeah, it's the fame's going to my head.
Is it? You're leaning in now. Oh my gosh, my husband just brought me a cup of coffee. You guys. Hello.
Sounds like somebody wants to be on the podcast. That's not
Someone
me.
misses his close-ups. My baby painted this for me.
Oh.
We started this thing when during COVID, actually, when Ginny was, God, how old was she? She's 7 months old. 7 months old. It was her first Father's Day. And for Father's Day, she and Robin both had COVID. I never got it, but they felt miserable. And I wanted his Father's Day to still be special because it was like his first Father's Day. And so I dressed her up in this like little shirt that said like happy first Father's Day, and a little pink tutu, and her cheeks were just bright red because she had like a little bit of a fever, but she actually like started, this was when they were like they were out of bed, they were in bed for a couple days, and then they slowly made it. And I was going to take them to Color Me Mine to paint pots for pots. I call everything pots, to paint stuff for Father's Day, and they couldn't do it. So I went to Color Me Mine, picked everything up, brought it to the house, and they did it together. And this poor little thing, she had so much fun, but she was just crawling around all over and like smacking the cups and so now we started doing this like every Father's Day and every Mother's Day. So we've got all of these things. This was my first Mother's Day one. So they're not over the top, but you can tell there's like fingerprints and stuff on it. But this Father's Day, not only did she paint them, but I made the cups.
Oh, on your pottery wheel.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm excited. Anyway, Jon Huertas.
Who I know from This Is Us, and you might know from This Is Us also. But we were just discussing this before we got on. You don't actually know how you how you know Jon, or do you know?
I don't know how I met him.
Right.
And
That's what
I
it
don't,
is.
like, I really legitimately don't know. I also don't know if I've ever worked with Jon. And
Yeah.
you'd think that would have come up in the podcast, but I don't know if I've worked with him or not.
Well, you guys were neighbors, right?
Yeah. So later we were neighbors, but like I think we met through Nathan Fillion.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan rode a motorcycle. So did Jon. So did Trucco. It was like it's this big, huge group of friends that are like family at this point because we've all known each other for a long time. But we had motorcycles in common. Like that was sort of that thing that. So yeah. So I don't know exactly how I met him, but I'm pretty confident I never worked with him. But I also feel like maybe I should look at Jon on IMDb and see if there's anything in here that I should have, known that I was with him in. I also think I kind of had a crush on him. I think I had a crush on Jon when he was in, let me see. It was a show that he was on, 2009, NCIS, no. Prison Break, no. What was he in? Cold Case. We both did an episode of Cold Case, but not together. One episode.
Undressed? You guys were both on Undressed? Did you do
Were
Undressed?
we? I did do Undressed.
That
Well,
show,
I mean, I loved him from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I watched growing up. I was a huge fan. So
Yeah.
I know that there was that. And then I think it wasn't that. It wasn't Crossing Jordan. It was probably, when was his first big like Generation Kill? It may have been Castle. It may have been Castle where I was like,
Yeah.
I think it was Castle. I think it was Castle where I liked that, the very beginning of Castle when I like saw Esposito and was like, dang, he's cute. No, but I don't think I actually worked with him. You guys, there's nothing in common on our IMDb's.
Yeah.
So, I just know him through Trucco and Nathan Fillion.
Just running in the same circles, basically.
We all do. It's
Yeah.
very, like I said, it's incestuous. We're all like a big group of friends. Trucco's friends like end up being like Nathan's friends, end up being my friends. Like we all, there's so many people in common between like 5 of us, I think. But Jon is always, God, he's always laughing. He's always smiling. He always feels like he's having a great time. And he and his wife, Nicole, are a good time.
Yeah.
They are funny, really funny. They like to partake in adult beverages, as do I. And they're just really fun. I mean, the picture he tells about how Nicole takes the video of his penis, basically. It's picture, like it's on camera. It's on, there was a fight between their dogs. He was wrapped in a towel and she was on the phone or he was on the phone, but somehow it ended up getting recorded unintentionally. And it's so funny because his ass and his balls are just like all over this video. And I've seen them.
You've seen the video. Yeah.
Of course I've seen the video. Of course I have. It's like, they love to laugh and make fun of each other. And it's they have a really wonderful relationship and they like to laugh. And that video is funny.
I'm distracted now by the fact that you were on Undressed. I didn't even realize that you were on that show, and I loved that show.
Really?
Yeah.
You loved Undressed?
I mean, loved may be too strong of a word, but I do remember watching it. And, I think it was the combination of it being such a show that I felt like I shouldn't be watching.
Yeah.
And it was also sort of an informative show because they were taking on a lot of topics that were very taboo at the time, and growing up as a kid in the Midwest, we weren't talking about a lot of those things. So I did find it compelling.
Yeah. I remember I had sex scenes in that.
Yeah.
Like, that was the second time I worked for MTV too. I did a pilot called Locust Valley that I think was MTV. And then Undressed came like right after that. I had brown hair in that, like dark brown hair. I kept trying, like when you're starting out as an actor in this industry and you're not booking jobs, they still do it. They still fucking do it. But they constantly try and give you a reason why you're not booking. You know what I mean? Like, well, maybe it's that you need new headshots. Maybe it's that, no one's hiring blondes right now. Maybe it's that, you're too chubby. Maybe it's that, this. Maybe it's, they literally make shit up because nobody fucking knows. And so at one point I dyed my hair brown because I was like, well, maybe this will help me because nobody's hiring blondes that act like me. Yeah. And that was one of my biggest problems was I would like walk into a room and look one way because I literally looked like I fell out of like a Gap ad. I was like, you guys, or maybe Abercrombie and Fitch. Like, I don't even know, but I was like straight out of Oregon, sheltered child. And then I opened my mouth and they were like, what the fuck do we do with that? And it was a problem because I looked so sweet and I was the opposite. So they didn't know what to do with me. Yeah. And so finally I just dyed my hair brown and I was like, well, maybe I'll book if I have brown hair.
You won't look so sweet.
I just looked really young. I looked really, really young. When I was 18 years old, I was playing 14. I looked like a baby.
Yeah.
And I was so sick of hearing, and they still do it till this day. I just auditioned for something and it was to play like this edgy, like sort of like streetwise character. And I obviously didn't get it. And as I was walking down the stairs with Robin the other day, I told him who I think is going to get it. And he went, brunette. I was like, yeah, exactly. It still haunts me.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a question. And
yes.
You've talked about this on several episodes, but you have a desire to potentially direct, but you're looking for a way to get your feet wet in it.
I am. And I think it's funny. I was just talking with Bryce Dallas Howard about this actually, or texting back and forth. I am at a point where I feel like I understand this art form now. I understand set. I've been doing this for almost 30 years. I say that all the time because it shocks me. Yeah. Where I have so many hours accumulated on set that like that thing of do 10,000 hours and you become an expert, like I feel like I have it. And I would love to direct. I've always said, I made a joke that I don't like actors, that actors are like, trying to control actors on set is like trying to herd baby kittens. Like there's only room for one in a family. I don't want to have to deal with all of them. But at the same time, I understand how to bring performances out in people. And it's something that I'm very interested in. But it requires a lot of dedication and a lot of work and a lot of study. And I don't know if it's something you undertake when you've got two young children. I think it's something I could start to dabble in and start to wet my whistle, if you will, and get start accumulating the things that Jon was talking about, like direct the short and, have that and start shadowing and do those things, but do them slower than like a normal person would do without children, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a thing. It takes some time. Do you have any sense of the kind of thing you would want to direct?
I'm a weirdo. It's the opposite of what people are going to think, but I would love to direct a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Yeah.
You guys, they're my jam.
Yeah. We talked with, the episode is coming out soon, so get ready. But we talked with Jonathan Frakes and talked about directing Hallmark or Lifetime movies and how fun they are.
Yeah. I love a beginning, a middle, and an end. As a storyteller, I love that. And I love I love Christmas. God, I love Christmas. I love it so much. I can't believe that we're so close to Christmas. I've already started planting my tree.
We're not that close. We're in
August.
We're just past as far away as you can be.
We are rounding the corner.
Okay. I guess as far away as you can be is the day after Christmas. I'm wrong about that. Yes.
So, because here's my question. We're in August. By the time this episode comes out, we'll almost be in September.
Oh, that's right. I got to think about.
And at the end of September, my Halloween decorations go up, right? Yeah. And then once you hit Halloween, you're basically in Christmas.
Yeah, then when the roller coaster started,
Especially when you're married to a Canadian who doesn't celebrate Canadian or American Thanksgiving. So that's what holds up the Christmas decorations here in the United States. But because I'm married to a Canadian, my Christmas decorations, because their Thanksgiving is in October, my Christmas decorations can go up November 1st.
It reminds me of last year. Sorry, this is a story about me and not about you. But
I love it, Jeff.
I went for my 40th birthday, I went to Italy last year. And we went over the Thanksgiving break. And we flew into Munich to do all the customs and stuff before you then fly to Rome. And there were these two American women who were about as stereotypical, like middle-aged, not even middle-aged, they're like 60s, 70s, whatever. And there's this very stern German customs agent there, and he's looking at this woman's passport, and he gives it back to her, and she goes, "Thank you, happy Thanksgiving, if you celebrate," and then kept walking. And then I walked up to the guy just laughing, because I was like, "If you celebrate."
Oh my God. God love them. God love them. I think sometimes Americans can't see past their own nose. You know what I mean?
It's true. It's true. But I just love the idea of this German customs agent who's the only one in his family who celebrates American Thanksgiving.
Could you imagine if he's like, "We do. I love canned cranberries."
Finally, someone has said thank you to me.
Finally. I need to talk to you about this actually, because my whole family, we're going to Germany for a convention. Speaking of Thanksgiving, we're going to a convention right after the day after or the day of American Thanksgiving. My mother's going to kill us. Leaving to go to Germany. I'm going to Stuttgart.
Okay.
Germany for a convention that weekend of I think the Friday, Saturday. And then we're taking my husband, the two kids, and my in-laws are all going for a 10-day vacation to go to some Christmas markets. Woo! That's for me. Everyone else is like, "Can we go to Switzerland?"
Yeah.
So I don't know where we're going to go. I need to talk to you about it.
Oh, you're going to talk to me because you want to invite me?
Well, I mean, are there German people for the podcast?
I'm sure there are. Yeah. Nicholas, who wrote our Mail Sack theme song, is German.
Nicholas.
So, Nicholas, you can go see Katee when she's in Germany.
That's
perform
true.
the Mail Sack song for her in person and live.
Oh my God. If we could get Nicholas to do the Mail Sack song in person, I would add him into.
All right. Here's the call out to the fans right now is let's figure out how to get around American Thanksgiving. And I know in Germans it's just called the end of November. If you could figure out how to get us a live show so that it would bring me out there. Nicholas will bring you on stage. You'll do the Mail Sack song live. We'll have a live Sackhoff show there. And I will pretend like I'm not excited to be there because that's my shtick, right?
It is your shtick.
Yeah.
I think that we need to see what other guests are in Germany or what other actors live in Germany that we could get on the show, because that would be pretty cool
to
do a live German recording.
Yeah.
In German.
In English. Yeah, in English. It would be in English. It's not enough time for us to learn German.
It's true. Let's do some questions here or some comments. Here's some YouTube comments. It's comments about the Axe and Bo-Katan relationship. So this is in reference to the Simon Castellanetis episode, if you have not listened to it, who plays Axelos on Mandalorian. Madeline Garber 7860 says Axe is kind of a real one. I didn't see it as super romantic, but he does care. The thing that confused me though was he dedicated to her, and yet he left her when she lost the Darksaber. My interpretation was it was mixed feelings type of thing. He still respected her, but he was also disappointed in her for losing the saber yet again, and he couldn't justify following her without her possessing the saber. Like he said, he feels pain over these laws they have to follow. Stupid, I know, but that's how it was. I'm trying to remember the conversations that Simon and I had during this time, because I think his disappointment was not necessarily in the saber, but that she didn't care more about it. You know, she had during season 2, Bo's entire purpose was to get the saber back from Moff Gideon. And then when she doesn't get it and she goes to give it to Mando, because that's where we're at, right? Oh no, he picks it up.
Yeah.
He picks it up and he goes to hand it to her.
Right.
And she says, that's not how it goes. I can't accept it that way.
Yes.
She's staring at it. She's staring at it and she won't take it. And I think that's what we talked about. For Simon, for Axe, he was like, well, you took it before. Just take it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And she's like, she learned the lesson. She's like, I'm not taking it again. And she says as much in season 3, episode, I think 6, where she says, I did this before. I cannot take this. The last time I did this, it went so wrong. It is not mine. You have to win it in battle. She says as much. And then, Mando says to her, but you did. You did win it in battle. You know, I lost it to the crone. You then beat the crone. Yeah. It's yours.
Yeah.
And so then that's why she takes it. But I think that for Axe, Axe was disappointed that she didn't just take it. That was the whole reason that they were going after that. Yeah, let's go to the mail sack.
Mail sack. We're going to the mail sack. Mail sack. Why are we calling it mail sack?
Jeff. You're starting to dance, Jeff.
Now just imagine what that would sound like live in Germany.
Oh my God, if we could get it in German. It would be so great.
Nicholas.
Oh my God, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
You guys, I love it. I love it. George, in the mail sack, you guys, if you don't know what the mail sack is and you're just here, the mail sack is the sackoffshow@gmail.com. And we read all of your comments and stuff.
The way you set that up, it sounded like you were going to give us an anatomy lesson.
About balls?
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't know what the mail sack
George
is. Well,
says, I wanted to suggest some new guests that would be awesome to hear from. Brendan Wayne, Lateef Crowder, and Barry Lowen. I think each would make for an awesome episode. Maybe do like a Mando special series or spread them out over a long period of time. I had the pleasure of meeting all 3 of these phenomenal actors over the summer at Rebel ScumCon, and it was honestly the highlight of my career. The work they do behind the scenes often goes overlooked and undercredited. They have some awesome stories to tell and are so instrumental in the construction of Din Djarin's character. George, I agree with you completely. I know Brendan and Lateef were on my list to do for the Star Wars cruise that got canceled. Barry, I only worked with one time. I don't believe, and I could be misspeaking, I don't believe that Barry was around in season 3 at all. But I could be wrong. Like I said, there were 2 units going at all times. Lateef and Brendan are instrumental in the creation of that character. And I'm so happy that they have gotten recognition for that.
For those people that don't know, can you explain who they are and what they do?
So for the people that don't know, Mando, the character of the Mandalorian, played by Pedro Pascal, is also played by Lateef and Brendan. And Barry was in the suit, and then there was another guy that was in the suit. I forget his name. God, this is making me... it'll come to me. But primarily Brendan and Lateef. Pedro's not there every day.
Well, he's in every movie and TV show, so.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally Pedro is Pedro. You know that. He's off doing other things. And what I think that they realized was, the helmet provides a phenomenal opportunity to bring in people of different expertise to create these characters. I have said this about my character, that during season 3, there were no less than 4 women in that suit. You put the right person in the suit for the job at hand.
What were they doing in your suit?
So in my suit, I was there every day. I worked every single day. There were 2 units running. So big stunts are done by a stunt double in a suit. We had, if you haven't seen the episode of Joanna Bennett, I highly suggest you do that. Joanna is a phenomenal stunt performer, and she is so important to Bo-Katan season 3. I highly recommend you listen to that episode. It's really cool. But Brendan is there every day. Brendan is the person I act with every day. He is so much of the heart of that character. He memorizes the dialogue. I act with him. That cowboy strut, that's Brendan Wayne. He's literally John Wayne's grandson. That strut, that cowboy, that's Brendan Wayne.
Yeah.
Lateef Crowder is a phenomenal stuntman and fighter. His fighting skills are absolutely stunning. I would highly suggest you go look at Lateef Crowder on social media and look at what he is capable of. He's just phenomenal. So most of the fight scenes with Mando are Lateef. And then, Pedro brings something incredibly important to Mando, which is the acting. That is what people love. That is who they fell in love with, and that is who Mando is to them, is Pedro. And you couldn't do it without him. He is so good as this character, but you also couldn't do it without Brendan and Lateef. Yeah. They're instrumental to the physicality of Mando. And I would love to have them on. Should have them on. So Ivana says, I just finished season 3 of Mandalorian. I'm so sad how they ended things with Bo and Din. They became like family. Din was the one who supported her no matter what, and there was not even a goodbye in the end. I hope they'll be together again in the movie. What happened at the end?
What did happen at the end? Look at us, the worst people to host a podcast.
So I do agree, Ivana, that I remember thinking to myself, where did Bo go?
Well,
because she's back on Mandalore and she's brought her people together, because that was always Bo's thing. Bo's thing was, we have a lot of work to do. We're going back to Mandalore. We're going to rebuild Mandalore. And she's up on the stage with the armorer, and they are lighting the forge together. And Mando's off, doing his thing. We'll have to see. I mean, that's the thing with Bo and Din, is they've got so much love and respect for each other. I think, I don't know, love, but respect for sure. And I think that they, they're important to each other. We'll see what happens, right? I'm not saying anything, guys.
Well, you've successfully convinced me that you don't know anything, but
thanks, Jeff.
Thanks,
Jeff.
Maybe I don't believe you, but we'll see.
Guys, guess where I will be this weekend? On Friday. I've just gotten a phone call from my manager that represents me for public appearances. On Friday, the 6th of September, I will be at a Comic-Con in Portland, Oregon.
Whoa.
So there you go. There you
go.
go. Basically, I will have a table and a photo op. I will not be doing a panel because I'm a last minute addition to this Comic-Con. But I will be there September 6th on Friday, signing autographs and taking photos. So come on down and see me if you're in Portland.
Is this Rose City Comic-Con?
Is that what it's called?
I'm looking it up right now. And
on September 6th?
There is a Comic-Con called Rose City Comic-Con in Portland, Oregon that is September 6th. Oh, you know who's going to be there?
Who?
Your buddy Simon Pegg.
Simon. I'm going to have to hunt him down.
John Cho's going to be there.
Awesome.
Doug Jones is going to be. You know Doug Jones?
No, who's Doug Jones?
He is the stuntman creature. Actually, not stuntman. He's a creature guy. He was like he worked with Guillermo del Toro a lot.
Right. You know who else is going to be there? Rosario Dawson, Hayden Christensen.
Yes. And Charlie Cox from Daredevil.
Charlie
I'm looking
Cox?
at it right now.
Is Vincent D'Onofrio going to be there?
I don't see him. Max Brooks is going to be there, author of World War Z. They don't have you on the site yet, but I guess it just happened. So Dean Norris from Breaking Bad. Yeah, a lot of Breaking Bad people are going to be there. Yeah, looks like it'll be a good one.
Well, come on down and see me on Friday, you guys. If you're in the Portland area, I will be there and excited to see you. But as usual, this is it. Thanks for listening to the entire episode. We will see you next Tuesday. And that's what's up.